Hacha, we are live. Making sure everything is working okay. Got some headphones over here. Oh, there's a lot of. A lot of feedback. Let's take a look. See here. Filters. I don't know why it's. Oh, it's by the air conditioners right there. Let's see if I turn it, if it'll capture just my sound. No. Let's go turn it off a little bit. No. Let's go turn it off a little bit. Okay. Much better. So just a couple of housekeeping things before we get really into what we've got going on here today. Is obviously you can see that we're in a different location. We've moved out of the closet, but that comes with its own little set of problems, so we'll have to see how all of that works out. What I am going to do is mute myself because I don't want to hear myself talk. I hope you guys want to hear me talk, but that's okay. Just for whatever reason, my brain just gets all discombobulated. But everything seems to be working okay, and that's absolutely fantastic. So today what I want to talk about is something so simple, but I love it because it gets you practicing with your hands, and it's just a simple toy, so it's a lot of fun. So basically what we want to do is we're going to take these two cubes. We do in fact have two cubes, but that's okay. We're going to take this one here over to here, and we're just going to, yeah, and there is in fact only just the one cube, right? One over here and one here. We take this one here, the flattened one, right? And all we got to do is just give it a little bit of a squeeze, and it'll actually come back just like that. So there's that cube. This one here, the same thing. You can actually just squish it down to next to nothing, and now you have two things that you can hand out for people to take a look at. Yeah, it's crazy. So I get to watch myself to see how that looked. Now it seems too quiet because I got the headphones on and I can't hear anything. I've got some stuff on my screen here. I don't like that. How do I get rid of it? Oh, this right here. Perfect. It's gone. Okay. I mean, that's that. That's the cloning cube, and that's my presentation for it. And it kind of just gives you a little bit. Yep. Hold on a second. So the other problem with being out here in the wild area here is that I got the TV in the background. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Maybe you couldn't even hear it, but I could. Anyway, it's just for funsies, right? So we've got the cloning cube, and the idea here is we're gonna show you everything that's involved, and I absolutely love it. It's kind of like the Tenyo toys, you know. It's just something that you can play around with, and it can be so convincing and so much fun. I carry it with me. Here's what it comes with. You got this little clip that you can paper clip. You can clip it onto things. You could even probably figure out a way to do something with that for fun. They recommend not storing it. Here's the mechanism. It's so easy. It's not even really deceptive. the idea here for a lot of the magic that we've been practicing lately is, how do you present something in a way where somebody knows what it is that you're doing, but yet you're just one step ahead of them the whole time. So, basic cube with a black square here, and that square pushes in, and you got to get it just right. And so for performance wise, I mean, this is just a low quality prop, but it's not going to be something that's going to, I mean, it's a couple dollars. It's not bad. I bought 3 of them. Now, the presentation I have is a merged idea of the instructions that came with it. So ideally you could push these together. Maybe not. And then you can put the clip on it and then store that. And don't store it that way, but you can carry it around that way, have it on your bag or whatever, and then you can have the flat piece in your pocket and you just pull that out to utilize. Now you could take this, and if it's on your bag, you could actually, it's attached, right? So you would just pull it. Let me see if I switch back to the other view here so I can see what I'm doing. So it's attached to the bag here, so then you just pull it off, and then you could just show that you got 2 cubes. And that could be a magic moment in and of itself, and that's what the first presentation that you would do, which is basically a 2-step maneuver, right? Where you would basically, they don't have to match up if you don't want them to. In the performance, it's just, you just make sure they get together, and that's fine. So basically you have 1 cube and you have this in your hand, and it's a simple presentation of throwing the cubes. You're trying to get 2. I got 2 blue, that's pretty good. You want to save the smaller cube, but it's the bigger cube that you really want to pay attention to, right? Because that's the cube that you're going to want to squish flat, and that's a basic presentation for it. And I just have my slide out. I don't have a keyboard, that's where I do my drop. So that's the basic presentation. The next presentation, which is what I utilize, and I love it because I start with 2 cubes, because I want the idea, like you can clearly see I got 2 different cubes here. You can even, however you want to do it, I love it in the hands. You could do a fast maneuver where you're just grabbing the cube or whatever, or you can just take your time with it. Just practice this move, get yourself in a good position. That's why I don't mind if the cube isn't exactly right for the color, because I don't want it to seem like I'm doing something, you know, I'm just grabbing the cube. So all slow, like you're just grabbing the cube, you're putting it here, you're taking the, this is what it would look like if I were to grab the cube, right? So that's what I want it to look like, kind of like a French drop. Boom, done. Coin moves, that's why they're so important, because I'm going to talk about one later that that I added to this, because I think it's absolutely brilliant. So now you're into this position where you're into the normal phasing of things. Now the way I handle this is on the table for them to see. It's a flat cube, right? I change hands to show. That's all it is. I'm just showing you that there's nothing going on here, right? So I prefer it to be in a position where I can do a, I believe it's the chink-a-chink move, the switch, right? I'm making it look like I'm turning this over, but I've positioned this in my hand where I can grip it into a finger palm situation, and then that way when I rotate this over and I pull this back, it's going to allow it to come back into existence. But you don't want to hide this. Normally what you would do in a situation like this is you might keep this hand closed, but it doesn't need to do that in this situation, because they still know this cube is here. You've actually made this changed out for that. So this is now hidden again. That's off to the side here. You're going to prop this up into a drop move, which is going to allow you to just vanish it into the hand, as you're presumably just dropping it from one hand to the other. And even if they see the little bit of a flash there, I mean, you're expecting to see some color. Now that's down here. Now remember, big move, small move, right? As you're rotating this over to slam this down, that's when this hand comes back to drop the cube, and it's now gone as if it never existed, and now you have your props on the table, which to me is an absolute brilliant concoction. I mean, I love it for a simple toy set. I mean, you can't really go wrong with using some of these more, more apt coin methods here to make this work, right? Now, something that I've been thinking about, and ever since I got it, I love the introduction of color. And the only thing for color that's really brought up for this type of display is in the instructions it says, oh, we're going to, it's a game and we're going to try to get 2 reds. Now, I don't want it to seem like a dice game though, because the problem with this is the more that you expose this, the more there's an opportunity for them to see that maybe it doesn't reset itself properly. There's a lot of things that can go wrong there. So if I keep rolling this, you can hear the hollowness of it. So I don't want to do that. But I do want to introduce a phase that allows me to do something with the color of it, which would be very nice to do, in the sense that, let's say you're here and you've got these 2 things, and now all you're going to say is this, something along the lines of, as you can see, we have a cube here that it's going to have 6 sides, right? Now, all the colors are represented on this cube, but not all the colors are represented on this cube. Now, the one that, obviously it would be missing, let's see, you got yellow, blue, there's no white or black, okay? Those more are shades. Oh, and there's no green either. So, you're probably wondering where the green is. Now, here's where the phase can come in. If you want to do mentalism, you can do mentalism. You can have them think of a color at the beginning, however you want to do it. Either way, you want to get into a position where you have the green here, and then you can load the green here. Now, there's a weird thing that you can do here with this, that you can almost, you got 1 cube here, you're going to place it into the hand, and it almost seems to me like you can kind of get away with that, right? Because they're looking, you're like, hey, take a look at this, take a look at this. Here, yeah, go ahead and take a look at that. You notice that there's a color missing there. It's actually the green one. And the reason why the green one is missing is because it's on this cube. There's 2 of them. Now, the problem with that, obviously, is you can't then hand it out because, methodology. So, it's kind of a work in progress, and I wonder, like, coin move, it's a good question of how would I introduce color into it in that regard, because there's no green here, but there's green here. So you could have 2 greens on this cube. Now, the other problem with that, again, is at the end of the phase, you want to end clean. So this is a good ending right here. So you might want to do the color aspect maybe in the middle. So when you come out like this, we got 2 cubes. They have the same colors on them. So basically, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at like this. So if we were to take a look at this one, you'll notice that there is no green on there. And at that point, you want to load it up like this. Oh, there's no green on there. Oh, that's because there's 2 green on this one. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And they just inspected it, and that could be your justification for rotating the cube. Oh, see, there's 2 greens on this one. Ah, so that's what happened. We pulled it over to this one. Great. And now you're into your position of taking this. Let's see if we can squeeze it back to come into existence. Oh, now, perfect. We got this going on here. We got this one here. And it looks like, oh, the green's back on this one. Great. Let's go ahead and take this over here, and oh, it's gone. Then, possibly, if you're playing around with the green color idea, maybe we introduce another object that's green at this point. Something to play around with. Now that would be a great transitional piece to say, oh, where's that green at? Maybe you have a green silk and you want to introduce a silk idea. I don't have anything green out here right now. We're in the process of kind of like building a new station out here. This is a computer station for the family, but I want to have a little pile of toys. But yeah, so that could be a possible idea for a transition, because you always want a transition. There's actually, and they're in there right now, but the Copeland Kraken coins have that green on them. So maybe you can like produce a green coin or something like that, just for fun. But it's kind of an idea that I wanted to introduce to have a third phase, because the first phase is basically flatten the one cube, and then you're flattening the other cube, and then you're ending clean, but there's no transitional piece, but there's also no there's some justification issues, which I think we fixed that by introducing the color for the second phase, which isn't really, it's more of a patter thing for justification purposes. There's no real mentalism happening there unless you were to have them think of a color. And I would probably introduce maybe the multiple outs situation. So for instance, if you're going to load up, see, that's what I'm talking about right there, you got to be extra careful with that. But if you're going to load up green as your option, because there's no green on here, so when you take this over to here, have them think of a color, and you're covering it with your hand, and you're looking over here, and it's like, oh, well, there's no green over here. Oh, well, I wonder, oh, okay. Well, let's see if we squeeze it a little bit. Oh, look at this. The green's back over here. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and take this one down to here, and it's gone. So now you're back into this position. Oh, well, maybe there's some green. Oh, there's some green right here for you. Maybe you have some sponge balls that could work. Some green sponge balls, and you produce those. So I think that's a really great place to leave that for right now. But these are the things that I think about when building routines, because if you're doing social media magic, such as most of the stuff that I do, I haven't actually performed this that much in the wild. But I on camera it looks great. So I would say keep these things in mind when you're building things, that you want to know what's going on around you, what's happening with your audience, and just what's happening with the people, with your environment that you're in. And in this particular case, make sure that you're thinking about, even when you're doing walk around, what's your transitional piece? Like if you're just, hey, I got some props, I'm a magician, I'm going to do cards, I'm going to do coins, I'm going to do this, that, maybe you're not really flowing very well. So what I like to do is I like to do it in such a way that I can produce the next thing while I'm still doing the last thing. So an idea that I haven't finished yet is I have my playing cards that have coin designs on the back, and I actually want to develop mint coins to go along with the deck. Now they're not going to be all that sophisticated, but I think it'll be just fine. But what I would do is have a gimmick card in the deck that has only one coin on the back instead of two, so that when I produce the card, I show them the face of it, hey, that's your card, and then I can have that coin phase, like make it disappear from the card and appear in my hand and then put it back, kind of like the phone idea, and then I can make the coin reappear on the card. So that's kind of the idea that I'm going with when you're talking about building these phases and these routines and making things really flow in a good positive direction. So yeah, that's what we got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you're practicing with these toys, because like I said, I did probably 2 or 3 different coin moves, if not more, just from practicing with coins so much. It gives you so much inspiration for your other magic. So there we have it. I really appreciate whoever stopped by today. It's probably just me, but that's okay. We do have the chat open here for a little bit if you guys are interested, or the individual that is watching. If you're interested, here, let me go ahead and like my video, because I like my stuff. That doesn't mean everybody else has to. But yeah, let me know if you are watching now or later, if this was something that you enjoyed. And then we also have a DougCon Live coming up here in about 20 minutes. So excited about that. So make sure that we're plugging the real people, the good ones. We got DougCon. He's part of the Magic Guys. So check that out. If you're watching me and you're not watching him, something's going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Yeah, you could probably make something like this pretty quick too. If you got like a little box and just cut like a hollow box and it doesn't have to be solid, but a slightly smaller box that fits inside of it, then you can just take off one side. You can do stickers or paint it, or however, whatever works for you. And then I probably would have more of a locking mechanism on this, but I don't know how it would release unless it was a push, like a latch. So like a spring release. So you'd push in, and then it would latch, and that would leave it in there, and then you would push it again, and then it would come back out. I don't know if that's so much of a good idea, considering that it's just a little cube. It seems like a lot of work. I was just watching. Oh yeah, it was Doug Kahn yesterday. It was a members thing, but he a great piece of advice is this. Somebody asked him if you could make props, which you can. But one of the particular things that we were looking at, I won't say what it was, but basically said, by the time you got all the tools you needed to make the prop and the gimmicks and stuff, you would be spending more money than the actual product was. So you might as well go support the product. So that's just a nice little tidbit of information there. But yeah, the cloning cubes. This is it's beware. Like, it's definitely something good for social media, especially if you're not doing it live, because this is a major defect. Well, not defect. It's just the way that it's set up. I would have almost preferred it if they latched it to the bottom as well, so that the other side of the spring would be attached. And maybe the actual product, because this is probably a knockoff or second, it's not. But to me, I think it's just an excellent little product that you can have fun with, and that's really the importance of that. Is can you do magic with just about anything, even if it's a lower value little toy like this? Can you do magic with it? Can you amaze people? Can you wow them? And really the important thing that you should be working on is your performance pieces, because you can practice this trick all day long, but if you're not performing it, then you don't know where to catch people in the right moment, because if your magic is good, then the trick doesn't really mean as much unless they're interested in certain types of magic. So if they're like, oh, I only like card stuff, well, then show them card tricks. But what you want to do is you want to get good enough that even if, I'll use Penn and Teller as the example. I always love the one thing that they told the guy. They're like, we know everything you did. Absolutely everything. Because we read... Can you turn that down, please? We only know what you did because we read your book. Because they read all the books. They read the guy's book, and they're like, we learned it from you, so good job. Like, that was it. You fooled us. So absolutely amazing. I think that it's definitely something to keep in mind, that you're going to want to continue. Um, okay. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll see you next time. So just remember, stay positive. stay active and stay awesome. And we'll see you in the next one.